Hello to both of you. How are you doing?
Hi
Good.
there.
How
Good to
are
see you.
you?
I'm very happy because at this moment I am causing envy to millions of fans all over the planet. We talked when the show was beginning and now it has become a world sensation. So I wanted to start asking, how do you see this path that you have walked with Outlander in this year?
It's been fantastic. I mean, we started, September 2013 was when we began, and it's been a long journey. And this season especially has been, such a fantastic, like, film. It's been very different to last season, but yeah, it's just felt really good.
Yeah, I mean, 11 months shooting on this. We're now on this press tour. It's sort of it's become our lives, hasn't it? And we're very lucky. This season is very, very different and a different look to the show, and it has presented new challenges as well. So we're just lucky to be here.
I read an article in which you said that when you started, they asked you if you were ready to change your life, and it has been amazing, a great ride, and people write to you personal stories. They share with you a lot of things. I think that is a way to understand the scope of the reach of the show. How do you see that affection of the fans?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, sometimes we'll get letters from fans, and that's always the stuff that really touches you. When there's a woman wrote to me on behalf of her 87-year-old mother, and she was saying that she loved the show, even the naughty bits, and and went on to describe her mother's relationship with her father and how they had lost them. But it's just like beautiful moments like that where you realize, we're making a TV show. It's, nobody's curing cancer or doing anything like that. But when you realize that what you do actually, gives happiness to people, that's like a really beautiful thing. But Ron said that to me right before I got cast, and it has changed our lives and in such great ways, and I think we both feel really grateful for that.
And there is also something very interesting, and is that people start calling you in the street by your name, but by the name of your character. So you stop being Sam, you become Jamie for everybody. So how does that feel for you?
Yeah, I'm going to change my name to Deepol, I think. No, I mean, it's wonderful that, people have taken to the characters of the show. And I think it's down to Diana's books and also our writers, But lucky to be playing the part. And, if people want to call me Jamie for a while, that's absolutely fine. Until I do something else.
Better than what I usually call
Yeah, it's unrepeatable, yeah.
Another thing that I found out when I was preparing for this interview was Robert Frost. You mentioned that, the possibility of exploring what could have been, the path not taken, and Claire has the chance to walk those two spaces, two possible lives. That exploration, those two universes, how do you leave them after the first season? How do you see that character in those two different lives?
Well, the interesting thing about this season is we find out in the very beginning that Claire goes back to Frank, and then for the rest of the season, you find out how that journey got her to that point. Claire believes that she's now in the 18th century and that's her done. And so that becomes her home, and that's now her new reality. And her life with Jamie there is very important. So it was really interesting to play then the reverse of last season, where she's now left the place that she calls home, and she has to go back to this place that's now alien to her, and to a man that now doesn't represent the same things as he did before. So it was beautiful to play that kind of reversal and, play around with what it means to have a home and what it means where your heart is. And I just loved that, and I thought the writing was so beautiful, and it really lended to that.
In the last edition of the New Yorker magazine, they wrote something beautiful about the show. And they say that one of the greatest things of it is that it shows us the magnitude of the passion of a woman and the vulnerability of a man. And in the last episode, you gave us probably what is one of the most vulnerable moments for a character and an actor. How is Jamie when we find him now, again in the second season, after what happened?
Yeah, I think he's very brittle. I think he has been saved by Claire, but I don't think he's totally cured. And we do see quite early on that he's still physically scarred, but also mentally, and still struggling, with what happened to him. And it becomes something that he tries not to think about, and it becomes almost a breaking point between himself and Claire, and because he won't discuss it. And so it sort of bubbles under the surface, and ultimately will implode on them and their relationship. But his salvation comes in a very strange form.
I have to talk about fashion. Well, we have the landscapes, the construction, the architecture of Paris is so romantic and beautiful, but your vests are phenomenal. Your dresses are out of this planet. How much of that helps constructing and telling the story for you?
Oh, so much. I mean, I think as an actor, the relationship you have with the costumes is so important, and so much of your clothes inform who you are and how you feel. And it was very interesting this season with Claire, because when we started wearing all of these gorgeous couture pieces, and they're works of art, each one of them, but there was an initial joy and celebration of exploring her femininity and getting to dress up, and the newness of all of that, because we've never seen Claire like that. But then with that, after a while, the constraints of each of those costumes sort of reflected in the constraints that Claire was feeling in Paris. Because as a woman there, even though they were they had better circumstances than they did in Scotland, women were still regulated to being very ornamental and, sipping tea and, gossiping in drawing rooms, and that was just not for her. But yeah, it's such an important relationship.
And Jamie is also learning to be very sharp and change his kilt for these other outfits. How was that for you?
Jamie has some fabulous dresses of his own.
Yes, and boots.
And boots. No, but he, Terry Dressback, our designer, has done again a fantastic job. And I think Jamie's costume, sort of reflects his mood, but also it's not his character, and he's playing someone else. And absolutely, I think it's nice to see another side to him, see him be layered in the French court, and to sort of to have that power play. And it's interesting, and a nice antithesis to the second half of the season, when we do return back to the kilts and Scotland.
Great. We're going to continue with this love story. Thank you so much for your time.
Great.
And see you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Well,